can.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Sir James from Gamerfuzion.com, and today I'm here to give you my review for Watch Dogs. Now, the story is quite simple. In the game, you are playing as Aiden Pierce, who is a brilliant known hacker and was a former thug until his past events led to a family tragic, and now he's seeking on a road to justice to find out who did this to his family and to stop them once and for all. Now let me go ahead and talk about the graphics. Now for me, I got the chance to play the game on the PlayStation 4 version, and honestly, I'd never been to Chicago, but if I did, I gotta say the game, to me, I think did a good job capturing how Chicago looks. You got really nice details of the building, the character models, the vehicles in the game, a lot of nice physics happening as well, and especially that sun glare. When you're driving towards the sun, you have this really bright sun glare blinding you at night, and I know the feeling. I've seen that happen in person, and it captured it quite well. It was like visually like really realistic. Now to be honest, I do feel like the graphics department though was held back quite a bit because the game was also had to be focused on last generation, and if the game never had to focus on last generation, then we could have probably had something that was close to the E3 footage that we've seen during the 1 year. But overall, visually, the game is really good on the PlayStation 4, so I don't really have much complaints in the department. As for the gameplay, this is where things get pretty interesting. Now basically everything in the city of Chicago is linked to some online netcode, and you have this really handy smartphone that allows you to pretty much hack anything that the game allows you to. For example, you can mess with the choppers that are coming after you, you can mess with traffic lights, hack ATM machines to get some additional cash, hack into vehicles that are currently locked, mess with road stoppers, spike strips, and even a little bit more after that. Now in the game you have your main single player, you also have a bunch of side activities and online play. After you do portions of the main campaign and side activities, you're going to be getting experience points, which you could use to upgrade one of the 3 different categories. The first category is your hacking category, where you're able to increase or learn additional hack abilities. For example, you could learn how to hack spike strips that you could use against your opponents, and one of the bigger items here is being able to hack a steam pipe to pretty much stop your pursuers in their tracks. Another section is the driving section. In this one, it's going to prove a little bit of handling of your driving skills, such as for off-road, and of course being able to reduce the damage your vehicle takes and the risks of your tires being blown out. You also have a crafting system. In the crafting system, you can learn to craft additional items that will help you. For example, you may have an item that's able to be used to lure enemies away from your objective if you're taking a stealthier approach in the main game. You have items such as blackout, to where you could black out the entire city at night, which is pretty cool, especially when you're going for a nice ambush approach against your opponents during the single player campaign, or heck, even the online multiplayer. Now in the online multiplayer, there's a few different modes that you could do, and to be honest, it was meh. The multiplayer wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be, but your different options here, which my personal favorite, which the one I recommend, is the online racing mode, which you could either be driving some fast cars or motorcycles. The reason I say that is the best portion of the online mode is because the cars in the game, they may drive fun, but as soon as you make a turn, your car is going to crash unless if you know exactly how to do it, and the controls are pretty weird. But the driving section is really enjoyable because everyone is crashing into stuff, and it gets hilarious at times at best, but that is the best mode. You also have another mode where basically you have a 4v4 team going on, and basically your objective is to get the briefcase, hack the information, and to get out of there. And whoever has the briefcase, basically your objective is to stop the opponents. For example, if the opponents have the information, you're tasked to stop them. If you have the information, you're tasked to protect it and try to gather everything before you reach 100%. You have another portion that is basically a free roam, where you can pretty much go around the city of Chicago with up to 8 players and pretty much do whatever you want. So in this case, you could piss off the cops in the game and have them chase after you, but this is where the AI tends to dub down quite a bit in the online play, especially for the cops. And you also have another one, it's like a 1v1 hacking skill, which is a segment that you're going to be pretty much getting to know during your single player experience, because someone's going to end up coming into your game and hacking your information. And basically in this one, you're trying to you're going to find your target, You're going to hack their information, but you're tasked to try to get their information before they even find you, and then after you get their information is to make a clean getaway. But that's really cool because it's basically like a little cat and mouse game, but sometimes it tends to kind of wear off a bit because the people in the game are not quite used to it, and you could see them running around, just shooting around everything. It's really noticeable of who the actual non-AI people are, so that mode gets pretty easy at times. Especially there was one where we were in a 4-car garage. He was all the way on top. I hacked his information. I basically went down 2 floors. I jumped into a random car, and basically I just sat there and he was running around looking for me. So it was a pretty easy way to get me, but it's things like that that kind of turn down a bit. But as I stated, there's a ton of different things you can do, side activities where you could go and hunt specific targets, you can go help people, and the game tries to do a good job of making it feel like you're important to the city, because the city actually has a trust factor with you. I mean, if you choose to do good deeds, the city is going to like you to where you're going to hear yourself in the news like, oh, police are trying to find the vigilante, but the police are having a hard time finding him because the citizens are protecting him and not going to give away his whereabouts, to where if you were to be killing a bunch of innocent people, your hatred from the city is going to grow, and then the police are going to be able to find you much more easily. So you could choose how it's going to go, but it's not going to affect the main story or endings like that. It's just like brief news reports and how the people react every time they see you. But those are pretty much all the activities that you have in the game. As for the sound, both the voice actors and the in-game soundtrack was really well done within this title. First, I want to go ahead and start with the in-game soundtrack. There was a moment in the game towards the end where there's a depressing moment that happened, and when the visual aspect was going on, the music kicked in, and I gotta say it hit low for me. I actually got to an emotional state. I was like, wow, that is very tragic, and it really fits so well. I mean, it's things like that I look for in games, and it did it quite well, especially from start to finish in the game. You have your different segments, or maybe you're in a firefight or police chase, and you have the music that just kicks in. And of course, not only that, also within the music department, you also have a radio station within the vehicles, or even on your phone. So if you want to listen to some random stations, which has a bunch of like third-party music departments, but like the overall music section in the game is really well done. You have a ton of different options to choose from, but just the main Watch Dogs soundtrack, that was really enjoyable to listen to. Now, as for the voice actors also did a good job. The person who voiced Aiden, I think, did a splendid job. He's really convincing, and you feel for this character in the game. You feel like anything that's happening to him, the things you say, it's like, yeah, you could build basically a relationship with this character. You're able to bond and basically get a feel for what this guy is going through. But as he stated, both the voice actors and the soundtrack for both the third party and the main portion was really enjoyable to listen to. As for the lifespan, what's going to make players want to come back to continue playing Watch Dogs? As they stated, there is a ton of side activities to do, at least enough content for side activities to last you up to 8 to 10 hours, and you also have the online game mode, which you're able to play with your friends or random people online, depending on your personal preference of this. But pretty much, if you're the type of person who's trying to go for 100% completion, just by making a guess, you may be able to get up to 30 to 35 hours in Watch Dogs altogether, just trying to 100% complete the game. As for the innovation, was there anything new here, or was the stuff that we've already seen before? There was some innovation with the online modes, especially the ability to go into another player's game and hack their information and just basically go on a cat and mouse chase, and of course the whole hacking scheme that they have going on with the game. I mean, there's been a few games here and there, but I think Watch Dogs did a really good job, and they might have something in this, especially for a sequel. Now, the main question here, is this truly a next-gen experience? To be honest, no. I felt like if Watch Dogs did not have to rely on releasing on the last generation as well, we could have probably had something a bit more with this title, especially some of the stuff that I've seen in this game, especially with the vehicles. I mean, I had a motorcycle, I went full speed, crashed into a car. Alright, you would expect the car front end to be damaged and maybe even undrivable. But after my crash, I go and see that front car. You know what I see? I don't see any damage to the vehicle at all. The vehicle suffered pretty much little to no damage unless if you crash it enough in the game or basically shoot it up. So there's some things that, you know, that would have been nice to see in Watch Dogs, but I have a feeling that if Watch Dogs 2, if there is a Watch Dogs 2, was only focused on the next generation and PC, we could probably have some nice potential for the title, but an 8 out of 10 is what I'm going to be giving Watch Dogs. If you guys would like to check out my walkthrough, you guys can check the link down below. Anyways, I'm Sir James from Gamerfuzion, and always remember guys, Gamerfuzion empowers your gaming.